What's up, guys? It's me, Noir Lilbomber, and today I have another theory for you guys today. And I know you guys will love this one, so let's just get started. In Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, after our player defeats Maleficent, she is approached by a figure shrouded in mystery, who only refers to themselves as Darkness. Darkness proceeds to tell Maleficent of her predicament, being stuck in data versions of different worlds, to prevent her from trying to alter the past in her favor, as that would be a terrible thing, especially in regards to the Master's grand plan, whatever that is. Also, about 6 months prior to Darkness's reveal, we also get a new start screen for the second anniversary of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and the screen features 7 different people: Ephemer, Scold, Brain, Ventus, his Chirithy, Larium, and a mysterious hooded figure. Why is that person here? Who is Darkness? What could this mean for the future of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross or even Kingdom Hearts 4? I will attempt to answer these questions and many more in my Kingdom Hearts Bleeding Heart theory. So, let's get started. So first off, we know that Strelitzia was murdered before the Keyblade War and her rulebook was stolen. And whoever it was is one of the chosen 5 dandelions in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross as an imposter. All logic points to Brain being the suspected murderer of Strelitzia. Brain has some sort of plan to counter the Master's plan. Also, when the foretellers arrived at the Keyblade graveyard, Ava is apparently missing because she successfully carried out her role. The last time we saw Ava, she was at the Badlands fighting in the Keyblade War and told our player to leave before it's too late, and seemed to be a bit more jaded and pessimistic than how we normally see her. It's strange. Going back to Darkness, the individual apparently helped out Maleficent escape the Data World line along with the other Union leaders, something stated by Lucio in the Kingdom Hearts 3 secret reports to be very much impossible under normal circumstances, and against the Master's plan. Now, people have been trying to figure out who Darkness is. Is it the Master? Is it Lucio? Is it Strelitzia's nobody? Well, no. I think it's either 2 people. Now, before I go into who I theorize Darkness is, let me first debunk the main guess of who Darkness is. It can't be Strelitzia because she is the nameless star in the final world, a place where the heart goes once it dies, only staying there as a heart because it has something in life to cling on to. So, a nobody's heart couldn't reach this place under normal circumstances. I know Naminé's heart was there in Kingdom Hearts 3, but that was because Kairi had died, so Naminé's heart was trapped inside of Kairi, but was released but still clung to life. Also, Strelitzia couldn't have become a nobody because when she dies, her body fades and her heart flies up in the exact same fashion as the fallen Keyblade wielders of the war, meaning that was actual death, not your heart fading into darkness. Remember, you don't die when you become a nobody/heartless. The two aren't connected. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive in. First guess is Demyx. Demyx is a possibility because first off, we know he will play a part or has played a part in Union Cross and will have some importance to the story because, as stated in Kingdom Hearts 3, Demyx along with Marluxia and Larxene and Luxord are connected to the Keyblade War's past. So that was the whole reason Xemnas even recruited him and the other 3 into the organization to begin with. Demyx would be Ava's recruit of some sort that would help thwart the Master's plan, doing things from the shadows. Now, I also think Darkness is the person on the title screen to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross that was given to us during its 2nd anniversary. If you look closely, you can make out a face and you can kind of see bangs from that person's hair. Bangs at least somewhat similar to Demyx. Now, before someone wants to say that Demyx didn't really have too many bangs or just he just had a couple strands, his hair wasn't that similar, let's not forget about Elrena, Larxene's human form. Elrena has bangs, but Larxene herself doesn't. And I know it's near impossible to make out the hair color, but it may look similar to Demyx's hair. Don't quote me on that because I'm going to be bringing that up later in this video. So why would Ava recruit someone to thwart the Master's plan? Because remember the Book of Prophecies, there was stated to be a traitor in the Foreteller's ranks, and obviously all logic points to it being Ava. Although I'm sure a lot of people have figured that out at that point. After all, the passage in the Book of Prophecies about the traitor states, and what does Ava do when she hears her fate along with everyone else's according to the book in the name of saving everyone else? She ventures off in secrecy. Only Gula knew what she was doing, in an effort to find the Master or someone to help in their current situation. She, in a sense, misreads the situation, claiming Luxu is twisting things for his own benefit when he tells her about their fate from the Book of Prophecies and strikes Luxu, with him repelling it with his Keyblade. And the force of her strike causes the bells to toll, signaling the start of the Keyblade War. Ava was unintentionally the traitor the whole time. This means that the Master knew that Ava was the traitor, which makes him telling her about her role all the more head-scratching. Why would he trust her with dealing with the Dandelions, the last descendant of Keyblade wielders? Because he knows he can use that against her. Remember, when Ava asked if she was really suited for the role of being tasked with Dandelion Instructor, the Master said,
Ava, you're the only person for this.
And remember Gula's role? His role from the Master is to find the traitor and stamp them out. He tried doing that in back cover, believing that the traitor was Aced, but he finds out that he was wrong. The Master knows that Ava would be the only person who would truly defy him in front of him at the moment of truth. So he makes sure to assign her with a role that, if details are twisted enough, will cause the other foretellers to attack her. I suspect somewhere down the line in the next saga, the Master will reveal all evidence to her being the traitor, even bring up the fact that she didn't return with the other foretellers at the Keyblade Graveyard. And I know what you may be thinking, but during the epilogue, we see Ava's chess piece on the side of the foretellers and the Master and Luxu. So that must mean that she will be an enemy in this saga and be against us in the final battle, right? Well, not really. Ava could very well be a temporarily villain who will switch sides at some point in the saga, like Axel or Riku or Demyx. Also, let's not forget that the Master Xehanort's side for chess in Kingdom Hearts 3 had pieces representing two people who would eventually switch sides, those two being Evan and Demyx. There's only one thing that someone could possibly bring up. Gula stated that the traitor is the one who bears the sigil. Ava doesn't wear any sigils. The only sigils we could think of for people wearing could be something like the Nobody sigil, the Keyblade Master sigil that Terraven and Aqua wear, or the Rikusen sigil that Sora unintentionally wore in Dream Drop Distance. I think Ava at some point will bear her own Rikusen sigil, while on the side of Sora and the others. Why do I say this? Because in Dream Drop Distance, the Rikusen sigil was something Ansem placed on Sora so that he and the other Seekers of Darkness could keep an eye on him during his test. I suspect that Ava has already returned, but chose not to go to the Foretellers, but instead wants to find the only person capable of having power equivalent to that of going up against the Keyblade and Kingdom Hearts itself, and the person who owns the Keyblade. She's looking for Sora. She would probably meet Master Yen Sid and the complete Guardians of Light and inform them of their current situation. Master Yen Sid would place the Rikusen sigil on her so that when she leaves to go to Sora's location, Yen Sid and everyone else will know exactly where Sora is, which is how I suspect Riku makes it to Shinjuku Ward in the first place, a place that's only 4 kilometers away from Sora and Shibuya. Why the Rikusen sigil? Because the word recusant means a person who refuses to submit to an authority or to comply with a regulation. That would be Ava being the traitor to the Master. It also has another name, the Mark of Heresy. Now I know the Master Masters isn't a god, as far as we know, but his ideals are followed like a religion. So maybe it's describing a characteristic of Ava. I also think that Ava not showing up at the Keyblade Graveyard has something to do with Demyx suddenly being nowhere to be found shortly after delivering Roxas's body. Remember, in the Ultimania, Nomura stated that Demyx was missing for a specific reason. Maybe it's because he is helping Ava. I know people suspected that Demyx could be the Master of Masters, but I don't think that is possible because Luxu definitely would have known who he was and would have been seen conspiring with him. And not to mention, in the KH3 secret reports, Luxu stated that with the return of the foretellers, hopefully he, in quotation, obviously referring to the Master, will return. He wouldn't say that if Demyx was the Master and was already in their world line. Now, Demyx isn't the only person who could be the person in the black coat / darkness. It could also be someone else who we don't really see that much, but we theorized before could have a lot of importance to the story. I'm talking, of course, about Kairi's grandma. Now, before you exit the video, hear me out, and I have a good reason to say this. Remember, some of what I said for Demyx would also apply for Kairi's grandma as far as darkness, and being a recruit to help thwart the Master's plan. There is a very good chance that the mysterious person is the grandmother of Kairi. Now, this is just me, don't quote me on this, but I think Kairi's grandma could also be the lost sister of Strelitzia. Again, hear me out with this one. Although this may or may not be headcanon on my end, still, hear me out. Remember when I said that you can make out a face of the hooded character on the title screen of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross? Well, to be honest, the face and even the body look to be a bit feminine. And to be honest, the hair color seems to be somewhat close to that of Kairi's family hair color. Now, I know that people will very well disagree with me on this, and again, the rest of this theory that involves Kairi's grandma can exist without her being Strelitzia's sister, but it makes sense to me when I think about them being siblings. Now, I know people will think, oh, that's kind of weird, because that would make Marluxia Kairi's great uncle, but still, let's just keep going. Again, Kairi's grandma being Strelitzia's sister is still headcanon on my end. Even if Strelitzia isn't related to Kairi's grandma, they would still be close or connected. My reason for saying that is that the cloaked figure on the menu is holding a vine, but that's not any vine. That's a bleeding heart vine. Often, a bleeding heart vine is meant to represent a beautiful girl who dies too young and tragically, and that perfectly fits Strelitzia's situation. I mean, I can't really say she was beautiful, but she was a girl who was taken too soon, died very tragically. The person holding that bleeding heart vine is very much aware of Strelitzia's predicament. Now, to try and make sense of Kairi's grandma's story, I think Kairi's grandma was born with some kind of special power, something that the Master thought he could use. Maybe Kairi's grandma has the power to cross world lines, we'll cover that later, and maybe a different sleuth of abilities. Maybe Kairi's grandma was so powerful, and that's the reason why Kairi has so much potential and is so powerful. But all kidding aside, Kairi's grandma has probably played a bigger role than we know right now. Kairi's grandma, after witnessing the Master's plan unfold with the foretellers attacking each other and the Keyblade War, which led to the death of thousands of misled children, she decides to do something about the Master and what he wanted, especially after the death of her little sister. While the Master may not have intended to have her killed, it was all because of his gargantuan plan that she ended up getting hurt. I even think Kairi's grandma being taken away by the Master made Larium very protective of his sister, because that was the last one he had left. Kairi's grandma would later act as Darkness and work with Maleficent in order to help the Union leaders. Now, of course, Darkness probably doesn't know who killed Strelitzia or what Brain's plan really is, but they are still on the same side. While Brain intends to undo what the Master wants, Kairi's grandma wants to do right by her sister and the world. It's like they are working together unintentionally. After assisting Maleficent and receiving help from her for transferring people to a different world line, she develops a highway of sorts, and that would be Game Central Station, which will help the Dandelions to cross from the current world line they are in to their original world line. Now, of course, Kairi's grandma isn't alone. Ava, of course, recruited Kairi's grandma so that she can use her powers to cloud the memories of the Dandelions, with the exception of maybe Ephemer. So people like Scold, Ven, and Marluxia would have just forgotten about their previous lives. This especially worked out with Marluxia because he now no longer has the painful memories of losing his family. It would also make a lot of sense for Kairi's grandma to have some sort of manipulation over memories, considering that Naminé, being Kairi's nobody, strangely has the power of memory manipulation when that has never appeared with any other character before in the series. Kairi's grandma moves to Radiant Garden and tries to live a normal life while still somewhat keeping tabs on the worlds. She proceeds to have children, and her children have children, which leads to Kairi. When Kairi was born, Kairi's grandma recognized that Kairi is the Princess of Heart, and knows that whether she likes it or not, she will be involved in any conflict that involves the worlds. So because of this, she is always with her granddaughter to possibly keep her safe. Not only that, but Kairi's grandma worked very hard to instill the events of the war into Kairi. Of course, the events were heavily butchered because she's telling the story to a child, but she makes sure that the history of the Keyblade War and Kingdom Hearts is something that Kairi knew since childhood. She told it so much it became Kairi's favorite story to hear. Eventually, Xehanort, as Apprentice Xehanort, finds his way to Radiant Garden, finds Subject X, and proceeds to experiment on her. Kairi's grandma catches wind of this and knows that both herself and her granddaughter are in danger. Kairi being in danger obviously because she's a Princess of Heart, and later had the right to wield the Keyblade passed down to her from Aqua, and Kairi's grandma because she is linked to the past Keyblade War. Right before Xehanort can take Kairi's grandma, she tells the story of the war one more time and vanishes. She disappears from Xehanort's sight, but keeps a close eye on her granddaughter. Remember that scene in Kingdom Hearts 1 where Sora goes through Kairi's memories and sees a memory of her grandma telling the story of the Keyblade War? I think that was looking back at the memory of this event unfolding. Kairi's grandma then observes Kairi being flung into the lanes between, only to be brought to Destiny Islands thanks to Aqua's charm and it deeming Sora worthy of protecting her. She watches her granddaughter grow up and even rest inside of Sora's heart. After seeing the lengths Sora was willing to go to when it came to protecting her, and saw how much he genuinely cared for her and vice versa, she deemed Kairi in good hands. After that, Kairi's grandma proceeds to continue working against the Master's plan from the shadows, finding anything she can about Luxu. Kairi's grandma attempts to return to her granddaughter's side when she realizes a second Keyblade War is upon everyone, but wasn't able to get there in time. Xehanort has already struck Kairi down. After Sora uses the power of Awakening to save Kairi, Sora should have died, but I think Kairi's grandma stepped in and saved him from certain death. Instead of casting himself off to the dark abyss that all deceased hearts go to, she quickly sends him to another world line. Remember, she has the power to do that, so that he wouldn't die. Yozora's world line. She sends him to Yozora's world line, the same place where the Master is. After doing that is when her and Nava step into play and work with the Guardians to help save Sora. It honestly just feels right seeing Kairi's grandma being this important because she gave us our first introduction to the Keyblade War and is the grandmother of one of the main characters, who by the way is the main love interest of the main character. Also, she was stating events of the war all the way back in Birth by Sleep. That was when the order was strictly in force, and you didn't have a lot of people like Sora screwing it up. So there's honestly not too many ways in which Kairi's grandma would know about the events of the war that are hardly talked about unless she was there, even amongst actual Keyblade wielders. I really think now would be a good time to bring her back because I suspect that the next saga is going to feature a lot of Kairi. Now, if I'm being completely honest, Kairi's grandma and Demyx aren't the only candidates for the hooded figure. I also think it could be Elrena. Again, the body of the cloak looks to be a bit feminine, and the bangs of the hair kind of resemble that of Elrena's bangs. And it would make sense for her to hold a bloody heart vine, since her and Strelitzia used to be party members, and Elrena is now actively searching for clues for Strelitzia's whereabouts. Now, of course, if Elrena is the hooded figure, that probably means that she can't be Darkness. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I really want you guys to discuss what you guys think in the comment section below about what you think about the theory. Do you think Kairi's grandma is related to Strelitzia or Marluxia? Or were they simply just friends and Kairi's grandma was really close to her? Do you think Kairi's grandma will have a lot of importance in the next saga? Do you think the hooded figure is Demyx? Do you think the hooded figure is Kairi's grandma? Do you think the hooded figure is Alrena? Do you think it's somebody else? Let me know what you think in the comment section below about all these different points and anything else you may have thought of during the theory. I really want to hear all of your discussions. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitter and my Twitch. This has been Noir Lilbomber, and I'm out.